Today, I want to talk about fear specifically. Fear is a very interesting phenomenon in life and in humans. And the longer I'm in sales, the more attuned I've become to fear. The biggest bottleneck that I'm having right now in my closing journey is fear. Like, that's my biggest bottleneck. And it's not this big looming fear that I have on calls. It's these little tiny, minute hints of fear that pop up in little moments. So I was on a call yesterday with a guy, and ultimately I chickened out. But it wasn't just one thing that I was afraid of doing, it was these tiny little building up pieces of fear that ultimately lost me the sale. It started where he started talking for a long time, and there were some things he said that I wanted to clarify and talk about, but as he talked for 2 minutes, I felt fear that if I went back to it, it wouldn't be congruent or something. And so I just was like, I'll just tag on to the first thing he said. That was a tiny fear. It was barely noticeable, but it prevented me from addressing the most important thing that was in that entire thing that he said. And then that kept happening where I just felt like a coward, right? Sometimes you've been in conversations where you want to say something, but you don't feel like you can, and that comes from fear. And so this was a very small level of that where I wanted to say something, but I wasn't confident enough. I was fearful of actually going out and just saying it. Then it got to a point where he mentioned that he had something personal that he didn't want to tell me. And I knew for a fact that that's exactly where the pain was at. That's the problem he wants to solve is that thing. But I felt fear because of the other moments where I let myself feel fear and not do something about it and so I just ignored it. I was like, I'll just move past it and turn a blind eye. That never happened. He never said that. I'll still find a way into the pain somehow. But that moment was exactly the moment that I needed to dig into. But what stopped me was fear. So after that, after I realized the mistake that I made, I felt even more fear. And so I basically turned him away for the time being, told him to reschedule for another call because I wanted a second shot. And that's it. That's what stopped me was just fear of going in. And what's interesting is that that fear can be based out of so many different things. For me, it was it was ego based about like what will he think of me if I dig into this thing. Like he might not trust me or uh he might think XYZ of me. And so I was afraid of that. I was afraid of his opinion of me. The ironic thing is, well, all of those things are wrong. Those thoughts that I had are all just fear-based thoughts, so they're not reality, and they should hold no weight. And so what's interesting too is that I've learned that whenever I feel fear the strongest, that's usually the time that I should go in, right? So all those moments where I felt fear, the only reason I felt it is because I knew that I should go into it, that it's hard though, and that there's potentially some sort of risk in it. And the only thing that I need to change in my head is that if I don't risk it, that's more scary. That is way more scary. Way more. And so I've also been like digging trying to learn about the different levels of consciousness, understanding that currently I've been primarily residing in fear. Like that's my current average uh place that I just hang out in different areas of my life. So that also causes a lot of anxiety and being frightened I have a map right here, the map of consciousness, and just reading the words. Anxiety is real though. And so, yeah, it's funny though because imagine a simple thing as fear holding you back in your career. That's holding me back in my career. Fear is holding me back in my career. And so I just wanted to talk about this because it's so subtle and I would have never paid attention to this before I got into sales if I felt these tiny ounces of fear. Like they're really small, like so minute, but it's small enough or it's big enough even though it's small to stop me from going in because just pushing in and interrupting if I need to, that's not a huge thing. So it's like, oh, well, it's fine. Like it won't impact it that much. And so you rationalize. And the more that I go into sales, the more that I realize like how often I rationalize things. I'm way more aware of it. I'm like, holy cow, like I rationalize all the time, dude. It's everywhere. It's just as soon as you realize that that's the thing that people do, it's like so hard to unsee it in yourself. And yeah, um the biggest thing that has helped me to realize this more recently has been journaling. So, I know all of us in sales, my guess is a lot of us also struggle with fear. A lot of you also struggle with fear. Or, there's different things as well that you'll struggle with, but a lot of them are emotional things and mental things. It's all a mental game. And so, journaling has been huge for me. I only recently started to prioritize it a lot a couple weeks ago, like making sure that I get a huge chunk of time to actually spend journaling and understanding myself and reflecting on things and being like, oh, okay, that's what happened there. It's like reviewing your own sales calls, except you're reviewing yourself and your life and the way that you are as a human being. So I recommend journaling. Journaling is really underrated. Like I remember for a good couple of months I knew I should be journaling, but I was like, it's just journaling. It's like I'm wasting 20 minutes or an hour just journaling and writing thoughts down. It seems like such a simple concept. It's so simple that it sometimes doesn't hold its value. And so what I actually did was I used to say I could only journal for 20 minutes because that's really all it should take. But that 20 minutes seemed so small that it actually made the value go down for me for journaling. So I raised it to an hour. I have to journal for a whole hour. And ironically, somehow I value that more when it's an hour because it's like, oh, if it's an hour, that must be really important. So it also gives me the freedom to go really deep with myself on journaling. And without this journaling thing, I don't think I would be as aware of myself and the fears that I'm having outside of sales too. Like I have fears all over the place and it's like, oh dang. Huh. And so right now the goal is that I get myself into higher and higher states of being, better mindsets, better views on the world. And so gonna do that through journaling. So ultimately the only reason why I made this video is because I wanted to make another video and fear was the concept of the day, understanding it more and doing things to address it. And then secondly, to provide value to you guys. The value of journaling is huge. Like, don't underestimate journaling, like, at all. How else are you going to grow if you don't actually reflect and be aware of yourself? So, I would suggest putting more time to journaling than you think is valuable because it's going to raise the value of it. And then you'll actually see, oh my gosh, there's so much. Like after an hour, I'm like, dude, I could go way deeper. Like I wish I had 2 hours to do this. So I just want to stress how valuable journaling is for being able to understand yourself and what state of mind you're living in and how you can get to the next one and the next one and the next one. Because I used to live in guilt, and now I've risen up into fear, and so ultimately want to go into love ultimately, but it takes going through each step to get there. And so awareness through journaling is playing a huge part in all of this. And also, you journal about sales, but you also journal about your own life and what's going on, where you're feeling fear in your own life because your life also affects your sales and vice versa. And so if I also feel fear to call my own friends out on something that I see or ask a clarifying question like, "Wait, is that what you meant?" If I feel fear towards that and I don't do it, I might not understand like even my friends. Like I might not even understand where they're coming from. I might get the wrong impressions or whatever. So, I'm not sure how to end this, but I hope it's of value to someone here. And I hope someone will think, yeah, I should be journaling. I should prioritize it. I'm going to do an hour of journaling every day. Go deep with yourself. Ask yourself all the hard questions. And that's what I'm learning to do as well. So, let's go. Cheers.